Thanks, Jen. You know, the cultural and artistic response to COVID-19 has been moving and of course, unique. And one of the most unique and moving essays I've read during this whole period was by a longtime friend and colleague of mine, our next guest, BeiBei Song. BeiBei, welcome to The Great Pause.
Thank you, David. So nice to see you here.
So before we start, tell us a little bit about your work as a writer and an artist. I've known you for many years, but I've known you in a professional capacity. I was very moved by the essay you wrote. How have you used your past experience to come to this moment and express what it's like during the Great Pause?
Um, David, it's interesting to hear you call me an artist and writer. I guess I feel a little more comfortable with writer. I still feel a little insecure when people do call me artist, and thank you for calling me that. I feel a little insecure because I'm probably not by the traditional definition an artist. However, I have been living life the artist way ever since I discovered an artist inside more than a decade ago, and I have I've been trying to work the artist way as well. And my medium is a little unusual. It's entrepreneurial ventures that embed art in it. And at the moment, or in this current episode of my entrepreneurial venture, which I call it Essinova 2.0, you are familiar with my work with Essinova 1.0. The current chapter, we actually try to bring out the artist in everyone and giving them the training and the tools to live life artfully, whatever their profession is, and to also be the catalyst for change towards more beautiful business and society. So in that sense, I guess I am an artist.
Yeah, well, you know, you say I know about Essinova 1.0 and 2.0. Has the COVID-19 pandemic made you think that maybe there's a 3.0? How has COVID-19 changed what you do, bringing an artful context to work?
Well, I'm not sure about 3.0 yet. We are in 2.0 for sure, and we're active in it. And we think that now we need art and artful thinking and artist's way of living and working more than ever. I can tell you a little bit about how I personally reacted when this epidemic or pandemic hit. So of course, like many people, I had to, it was raw emotions. I had to process that first. First, it was just this biological instinct to protect, myself and my parents and my loved ones. And having been exposed to the origin, exposed to the crisis, which started in China, I was more cautious earlier, started to put on masks before everyone else did. And after that, the next, at the same time, you have feelings for the others and you want to know how you can contribute. And at the same time, you begin to think about what is this teaching us? What are we learning? What meanings can we make out of this? So with all of these thinking and all of these thoughts and emotions, I was compelled to write that article that you mentioned, basically to process all this stuff that was going through my head and my heart. It was kind of like a snake having to shed the skin. So that was exactly, the article is exactly what I was feeling at the moment, and also what going in the back of my mind, what I wanted to do, or how we can contribute. So Essinova, as you know, we try to cultivate the extraordinary through art, leveraging art for human development, leadership, and innovation. So I decided to start this program called Artful in Quarantine to apply our methodology, our way of doing things to this crisis as our way to contribute. As you know, we need medicine for diseases, for our physical health, but next to the physical health is our mental health. And art and music are the medicine, the the vitamins, the vaccine, and the chocolate and wine for our mind and for our spirit. And I felt that's exactly what people need at this time. So the program, which we call a Play Shop series, is to help calm, enchant, and energize people. You know, I love the show of your name, the name of your show, The Great Pause. This is exactly how I see it as well. It's a pause that we were not taking on our own before, and this crisis is forcing us to pause. Life was getting too fast. We did not have time to reflect, not reflecting enough, and now we are forced to reflect, to think about, and to slow down. And another one is that life was getting so complicated. We need to go back to the basics and appreciate the essential. So those are some of the premises for the program, and the response was very heartwarming. We had people from around the world join us, and people were uplifted. They were inspired. They told us that we brought them to places of bliss and peace. They were inspired to think about how they can use this time to not only re-energize themselves, but also to see what change that they can bring to the world. So it has been very encouraging, the response. And we have formed a community after this to continue to support each other and to continue to learn.
BeiBei, what are some of the things that people can do to live, as you say, a more artful life?
Well, a few suggestions. One is to develop a meditative practice through art. People don't know that actually art and music can be very meditative. And so that's a simple way to start to get connected with your senses and emotions. Practice your mindfulness that way. And to start with, anywhere, you don't have to begin with a formal art class. You can start doodle, start to use colors and shapes to represent what you're feeling, what you reflect on today. And you can even use your accessible materials. You know, we have examples of fun artwork that people made with vegetables and fruits now that they don't have access to a lot of art materials. So just get started right now, and we have resources on our webpage and in our community to give people more ideas and more practice.
So a question I guess I should have asked you years ago, since we've been friends and colleagues for a while. Where does the name Essinova come from? And then after you tell me that, talk about this new community that has developed out of COVID-19, because I know your community roots were already very broad and rich and based in this artful way of doing business.
Yeah, essence of innovation. It's very simple. Essinova stands for the essence of innovation. So as you know, it was the first chapter was innovation for, we call it innovation for the well-being of humanity. We focused on health and environmental innovation because I felt those are the areas that are really meaningful, very important. Yes, the community has been, it's a broad community, and the second phase, the second chapter, it's about what we call the new Renaissance, the 21st century Renaissance. It brings a convergence of knowledge from science and technology, and of course innovation and business. But also we want to promote the role of art and humanities, which we believe it is dearly needed at this moment in time, in this crucial phase of history. So that's why the community is broad.
You mentioned a word that I use a lot because I'm a student of history, and the Renaissance has always fascinated me. Do you think that we're on the verge of some sort of Renaissance because of COVID-19?
Well, I don't know if it's because of COVID-19, but I think the COVID-19 is happening in that transition period. I do think that we need another Renaissance, and we are on the verge of another Renaissance. And that, to me, this Renaissance to me is a return to humanism, not only technology, technological solutions. It's a return to beauty. And those are the things that we really need for this, this time in history. And it's also the, again, the convergence of knowledge, the different streams of intelligence and creativity. So that is my belief. And I think in many ways, this pandemic can be this impetus for that process, for that rebirth, creative rebirth. That's what I call.
Well, thank you, BeiBei. You know, as my mentor, the Reverend Anthony Turney, used to say, it's an ill wind that doesn't blow someone some good. And certainly COVID-19 continues to be a very ill wind. But if we can make some artful beauty out of that, all for the better. And artists and writers and entrepreneurs like you are helping us get there. So BeiBei Song, thank you for your work. And on a personal note, please give our very best to your dear sister and your parents. 谢谢.
Likewise, my best to Alfredo and your community. They're invited to join us in our community, and they're welcome to watch our videos that will be posted on the webpage.
Thank you very much. We've been speaking with BeiBei Song. Jen?